Okay. Okay, here's the thing, though. Okay, before I get into all the stuff, guys. They still haven't seen our best football yet. All right? We're going to put this thing together, the whole thing, right? But it's about how we battle. So we had 164 on the ground balance, okay? Made our plays on third down. Coker made some plays. Your quarterback, 15 and 22, 06, 3 touchdowns. 147.1 rating, that's career high right there. Hey, but the bottom line is, we just fight. We don't know how to do anything else but just keep fighting, and we always finish because that's who we are. Beautiful day. Let's go.
Fantasy Football Happy Hour with Matthew Berry.
Welcome to the Fantasy Football Happy Hour, a happy Monday and a happy Panthers locker room.
Oh, yeah, they pounded. They kept pounding. They started pounding, and then they kept pounding. Exactly. They finished. It's unbelievable. Great job by the Carolina Panthers. What a win by them. Cokeheads unite, by the way, one of the heroes of the Carolina Panthers, of your Carolina Panthers.
7-6 Carolina Panthers.
They might need to be with the way the Colts are doing.
It's unbelievable. They could be 3-10 and no one would bat an eyelid, but they're 7-6. Oh my goodness.
It's unbelievable. Matthew's favorite coach in the NFL, Dave Canales. The notable fantasy performances, yes, Bryce Young at the top, but not far down the board is a resurgent Chuba Hubbard. We got to hear from Chuba after the game on him getting closer and closer to feeling 100%.
Obviously, earlier in the season, I just want to play for my team. I want to help my team win. I want to be a part of their success and be there for them no matter what. I've been on the field where I'm like 30%, 40%, but I just told myself if I can play football, no matter how that is, I'm going to go out there and do that. So that's kind of my thought process when it came to that. Last week was probably my first time feeling like kind of myself again, able to get the ball a couple of times, and this week I'm starting to feel good as well. So just going to keep trying to get back to 100% and getting back to me.
Chubby Magic, back to fantasy relevance here?
Yeah, the Chubbler.
The Chubbler.
The
secondary Chubbler.
The secondary Chubbler, and then he was the OG, and then he went back to the secondary.
Jr.
Now, yeah, exactly. But either way, like, it was great to see this. 19 touches at the season high. First game with double-digit touches since week 8 here, Jay. And he played 58% of the snaps. That's the two things that are most important to me is he played 58% of the snaps. He was effective. And, oh, by the way, he looked like Chuba Hubbard. He looked like the guy that was his fantasy superstar last year. He ran well. He caught the ball. A nice touchdown there as well. He's the 5th best running back in fantasy. We enter into Monday night. Now, they're on a bye next week, but it does feel a little changing of the guard. You don't want to be too reactionary, but the difference here is that in addition to Hubbard ramping up, Jay, it feels like Rico Dowdle has started to come back to earth.
Yeah, so there's two things. Zved makes the point, has the small Chubb taken over this backfield? I
don't know that he's a small Chubb. He's just, he's a younger Chubb.
Medium Chubb?
Yeah, medium
It's like
Chubb.
we have medium show.
We have medium
the Panthers
show.
have the medium Chubb.
Sure. Yeah, exactly.
So I think the thing is with the Panthers, I'm just not buying into any indicators around the Panthers being real until we see it over a sustained sample. Like, Tetairoa McMillan was going like 8 for 130 2 weeks ago. Now he's just not part of the offense at all. He had one catch on the weekend.
4th down.
Yeah, 4th and 2.
Yeah.
Miracle touchdown. That was his one catch for the whole day. Nothing about this team makes sense. I don't know how they're 7-6. I don't know what they're doing on offense week to week. And by the way, we could have a chubby Super Bowl. Texans-Panthers, San Francisco, 2 surging teams above 500. It's unbelievable. But yeah, I think that Chuba Hubbard is the guy you want for now in that backfield, but watch it flip back after the bye.
Yeah, I mean, they're on a bye this week. Then they come back. Really nice schedule, actually. They're at New Orleans, home to Tampa Bay, then home to Seattle. And by really nice schedule, I mean nice for their opponents. Like, it's not good for fantasy, if I'm being honest with you. Like, they have a good matchup against the Saints. They do play Tampa Bay twice now down the stretch, so they will be able to control their own destiny here, as you see Buccaneers in Week 18. But for our purposes, it's that week 15 in the fantasy playoffs, and then it gets tougher, right? And then you got the Bucs and your home. At least they're 2 home games, the Bucs and the Seahawks. This is an impressive performance. It just feels like Hubbard and Dowdle are going to be flex plays that you're hoping for a touchdown during the fantasy playoffs. Again, we'll have more of a sample size and get a better sense of it after that Week 15 against the Saints. I think first week of the playoffs, you're likely starting both guys as flexes in the Saints, unless we get news between now and then. But then 2 tough run defenses in Tampa Bay and Seattle to finish out the rest of the season there as well. But it just, again, snap rate for Rico Dowdle has decreased in 3 straight games. He had a 45% rush rate. That was his lowest since Week 8. He's been under 3.3 yards per carry in 3 of the last 4 here, Connor. And the most important thing is, I get what Jay's saying, like it's so up and down, but this was a hell of a win for the Carolina Panthers. For all the fun we have with Carolina, the Rams were the hottest team in the NFL. Panthers are traveling cross-country on a short week. They were in San Francisco for Monday Night Football. Then they have to travel back to Carolina on a short week against arguably the hottest team in the NFL, and they took it to them. By the way, no J.C. Horn in this game. They were down a couple of defensive starters as well. It's a hell of a win for Carolina.
Yeah, they forced 3 turnovers against a quarterback that never turns over the ball, 2 picks and the fumble as well. So, the fact that they can – it's also played to their script, right? Their script. And Bryce Young, by the way, 8 of 10 on 3rd and 4th downs. That's not their script.
The 2 touchdowns were 4th down touchdowns,
right.
yeah.
Yeah, the Cokeheads unite. And T-Mac, as you said, Jay, bailed out his day.
Yeah.
So that's a little glass half full, glass half empty, because – the target share plummeted for him in this game.
Yeah, I think also the other thing too, very impressive win. Impressive they put themselves in a spot to win that game. But at the same time, they went 3 for 3 on 4th down. They had a +3 turnover margin. They destroyed the Rams on 3rd down on both sides of the ball as a comparison there. So it's like the type of recipe where the underdog, the 10-point dog, wins.
Exactly.
And it's not particularly replicable, but they bank the win and they move on. But yeah, I just think that ultimately, the one thing that I feel confident with in this Panthers offense is that Dave Canales does not want to put the ball in Bryce Young's hands unless he has to. So they're going to be a run-first offense, and then when they have to throw, they will. But for the most part, I think T-Mac, I think his median outcome week to week is going to be 4 for 55 type of games. The idea that he was going to be a wide receiver 1, which I thought was in play after the 8 for 130 game against the Falcons. I just don't think Bryce is good enough.
They're a young team. They're a young team that has some talent deficiencies, but they're playing above their heads. Credit to Coach Canales, and they're legitimately in the playoff mix. It's being a young team. They're going to be
mix.
Right. They are. Exactly. But being a young team, they're going to be inconsistent. Again, they're on a bye next week, so we'll talk about them more probably in 2 weeks, and there'll be a couple players we'll talk about tomorrow, I am sure. But either way, the Panthers kept pounding and then banged out a win. So well done
exactly right.
to Carolina.
Our next game, the Texans with a massive, massive win over the Colts in this one, Jay. Things are starting to spiral a little bit. Sauce Gardner hurt. Daniel Jones clearly playing hurt.
By the way, there's no takeaway. There's no takeaway from the Rams. It's just a bad day at the office. By the way, we moved off that quickly.
Catches touchdowns in his sleep.
Yeah.
On we go.
Puka Nacua had the catch of the year for about 4 hours.
Yep, and we'll get to the other catch of the year. Don't worry, but not yet.
Yeah. This is a good question. Art Vandelay latex. Art Vandelay
latex salesman.
Yeah, that's a good point. Well done, Vandelay Industries. Can't wait for Jay to turn to the excuser when reflecting on the Colts game, or does he jump over to the Jags? It's a good question, Jay. Yeah. Your loyalty for the ones will be tested here. You have previously been a Colts man. You were for the shoe, but this has been a tough run here for your Colts.
No, I'm sticking chubby with the Colts. No, I don't like the Jags. This team's not that good. They're the 15th best team in football.
Like the Bears, they're the number 1 seed in the NFC.
I don't like the Bears. I'm a Packers man. I'm a Jordan Love man. Jordan Love's been in my stable for a long time. This is the high point. Could be the 1 seed, Jordan Love.
Yeah.
So here's the takeaway for the Colts. So I will be the excuser because I came away, and it's going to sound strange because they lost as 3-point favorites and now they're in trouble for the division, but I was encouraged by how Daniel Jones looked, because the way this season was going to completely fall apart for Indianapolis was if Jones was just a 0 and he couldn't move. He wasn't the problem yesterday. No. Jones, the thing is that he's not running. There was no scrambling at all. They worried enough about his leg that they brought in Tyler Warren to do the 4th down sneak, which he promptly fumbled. But I thought Jones throwing the ball against what is maybe the best defense in football, I thought he was fine. The Colts lost the game because they didn't have any pass rush. But they were in position enough on offense to win that game. It's just they shot themselves in the foot repeatedly. But Jones looked okay, and that's the main thing. Their offensive line has kind of fallen off a cliff the past month, and that's become an issue. But for the most part, I think fantasy-wise, Alec Pierce is clearly the guy that you want in this receiver room. Tyler Warren will have better days. He was questionable with an illness. He just didn't look right. Michael Pittman is the concern, where if this isn't going to be the best offense in football, super explosive, then maybe, Matthew, there's not enough turkey to go around to satisfy all three of Pierce, Warren and Pittman, not to speak of Josh Downs as well.
Yeah, right. Third straight game with under 30 receiving yards. In games in which Michael Pittman does not score a touchdown this year, he's averaging 7.7 fantasy points per game. It's so weird because previously Michael Pittman in previous years was just sort of a floor guy who would always get a bunch of targets but just, wasn't a big touchdown scorer. This year, he's been a big touchdown scorer, but then when he's not getting the volume that we've seen previously with Pittman as well. It's weird. We always say this about this guy's a touchdown-dependent tight end. Michael Pittman is a touchdown-dependent wide receiver. So it's just sort of on a weekly basis, how lucky do you feel? Because as we enter Monday Night Football, Michael Pittman is wide receiver 81 this week. Again, he's averaging under 8 fantasy points a game in games in which he doesn't score a touchdown. Third straight game with under 30 yards. Daniel Jones now, fourth straight game with under 17 fantasy points since week 9. He's QB 17 on a points per game basis. I think what this game did, and admittedly, they're playing the Texans, which is as good a defense as there is in the NFL. So you sort of write it away a little bit. But again, we haven't seen it. Jonathan Taylor's second straight game that they can't really get him going, which is concern. But I feel like moving forward, now they play Jacksonville. They're on the road at Jacksonville, which has been a problem area for them. The Colts have struggled on the road at Jacksonville, even in years in which Jacksonville was terrible and the Colts were decent. Like, they always lose at Jacksonville, it feels like. This is a huge game in Week 14. They got a Week 18 game at these Texans again. But Jags in 2 of the next 4, you see it there on your screen. Week 15 at the Seahawks. Week 16 home to the Niners. This schedule is not favorable. It's a challenging here. All I was going to say is moving forward, I think you're starting Jonathan Taylor every week, obviously. You're starting Tyler Warren every week. I do think Pierce has made himself a rock-solid wide receiver 3.
Yep.
But the rest, I think it sort of depends on who else you have in the matchup. I mean, I think Pittman has gone from must-start to let's see what the matchup is and what else you have.
Yep. We'll see. I mean, this Sunday's going to be super interesting against the Jags. The week after at Seattle is brutal. I think you feel really good about the Colts home to San Francisco and home to the Jags in 16 and 17. And then week 18 at the Texans, potentially for the division, will be massive. But, yeah, we'll see with Indianapolis. They were completely screwed by the refs in this one, too. Delay a game followed by phantom PI on Kenny Moore. If the refs are doing their jobs, the Colts probably win. So we move forward.
The excuse.
That was a disgrace.
It was, I have to say.
It was 2 seconds past the delay game, and then there was no PI. I didn't even touch him.
No, I know. The refs had a bad day at the office. There's no question in this one. And then the extra point, I think, was questionable there as well.
It's been a bad
the refs definitely had a very tough game in the Texans-Colts games. Chris Sims specifically called them out on Football Night in America.
That's why I like Chris Sims.
There you go. But on the Houston side of the ball here, Nico Collins suddenly starting to become that wide receiver 1 that we thought he was going to be, that we drafted him to be. Gets a rushing touchdown here. Stroud looked better. They got the ball. Tough loss for Sauce Gardner there for the Colts on the Colts side of the ball. Losing Sauce here. But, Connor, what did you see out of this run game here? Woody Marks, third straight game with 17 touches, but so he continues to get work and continues not to produce.
Right, it's volume-based, is this run game. The line's just still not very good. Stroud, after the interception, was really good yesterday. He was more short area surgical, as we would call it, which helps Nico Collins because Nico can hit the big play, but he could also eat you up underneath. But the run game is just not spectacular. It's more of they lean on it to be honest with their offense, but you don't get explosive runs. It's just all volume yardage and no touchdowns.
Woody Marks left this game briefly with an injury and then ended up coming back here. The crazy part to me is that he has a 3% target share. Woody Marks was supposed to be the pass-catching running back, and they're just not using him in the passing game as well. He hasn't had a double-digit target share since Week 8. He's got only 3 games for the year with 70 or more scrimmage yards. Nick Chubb, the original Chubb, the big Chubb, gets he gets a touchdown. He got into the end zone, so he cashes in there. It's just I think the Texans are other than Nico Collins, I'd argue the best fantasy asset on the Texans is their defense. Is their defense. It's like when you start, for leagues that play a defense.
Dalton Schultz is the other guy that Stroud, has.
You usually have a floor with Schultz.
Yeah.
Like if you need 9 points at tight end, he could usually get you the 9 points.
I feel like I know exactly what CJ Stroud is now too. He's like rich man's Trevor Lawrence. Like he's always going to have that one crazy pick. Like the pick was awful yesterday, just sailed for no reason. But other than that, very solid. good. He's an above-average quarterback who's not in the top tier.
I think we're going to look in 2 years, and I think C.J. Stroud and Bryce Young are going to be much closer together.
I don't know that.
Bryce Young had a nice game. Again, 15 to 20.
I'm old enough to remember what Bryce Young did on Monday Night Football in San Francisco.
I get it. I'm just saying. I think that if you were redrafting for the NFL today, you'd take Stroud over Young. But I think the gap between them is much closer than it was looking like in the first 6 games of their rookie season.
It's not an embarrassing gap.
That's right.
It once was. By the way, producer Steven tried to start a Duval chant in the chat, and Cobra Kiger just tagged him and said, Jags stink.
Yeah, I mean, exactly.
I'd love the Colts to win on
Steven.
Sunday.
A lot of accusations that you have traffic court today. Multiple
here's the thing.
accusations.
So a little inside baseball. After this, Matthew and I are going to film a little commercial for DraftKings for Texans Chiefs Sunday Night Football. I'll be dressed like this professionally. Matthew's going to wear a Bijan Robinson jersey for the Chiefs.
We don't know why either. They lost yesterday.
He was the greatest fantasy performer on Sunday. A.J. Brown had the most fantasy points this week, but Bijan Robinson finally got in the end zone. Bijan Robinson had a great fantasy day on Mondays, especially on Mondays when my Commanders don't win, and I can wear a Jaden Daniels.
To be fair, perfect outcome for your Commanders. Because you want to lose for draft position, and they showed up and they played really well.
Yeah, 1,000%. It was
a dream outcome.
You never like to say, we'll get to that game in a second. You never want to say moral victory, but it was, on some levels, a moral victory.
Yeah,
they haven't quit on Dan Quinn. I thought it was, I thought Mariota played it. Well, whatever. We'll get into that game in a minute. But anyway, or are we there? I guess we're there.
We are there.
We are there. I guess we can move on. Yeah, here's what I will say about my Commanders is that I thought Mariota.
Yeah, that's the talk of town.
We got instruct. I'm just gonna, because everyone's asking about this. I was literally told by NBC brass to pronounce with a tuh. Somebody reached out and told us.
And you're following instructions?
Yeah.
You don't do that on this show.
No, whatever.
This is a time where maybe you shouldn't have followed instructions.
Marcus Mariota. We were told that it's important to put the pronunciation on the tuh. I guess somebody from his camp, I don't know, beats the hell out of me.
Is he from Sicily? What's going on here?
You know what, I just work here. But I thought he played about as well as you could ask for a backup to play, especially against one of the better defenses in the NFL. They played really well. Bo Nix over on the passing yards cashed, right? Best bet cash. We're happy about that as well. The Broncos did not contain him, which killed my parlay. I had under in his rushing yards as one of the legs on my parlay, and Marcus Mariota ran all over him here. But on the Commander side of the ball, I think the biggest story here is obviously a huge game for Zach Ertz. Continues to be sort of, a rich man's Dalton Schultz. Dalton Schultz East.
I feel like they're in the same tier of
So that's what I'm saying, Dalton Schultz East. He's just basically Dalton Schultz, but just, closer to the Atlantic.
Older.
Slightly older Dalton Schultz here. But it's good to see Terry McLaurin come back. He's now had 6 end zone targets in the last 2 games. You could just see a difference when he was out there for this offense.
The entire offense, right.
Debo has the big catch at the end as well, looked fine. I mean, the thing is that this offense has always been well schemed, and they have weapons and they have speed, and Mariota has shown that he can operate. The Vikings win the Super Bowl if they had Marcus Mariota this year. Like every quarterback I watch, every backup quarterback who comes in and can tie their own shoes, like, wow, what if you're on the Vikings? Davis Mills, can the Vikings win the division?
Right. Yeah, what's the bar?
But yeah, we'll see. Now, is Jaden Daniels going to play next week?
See, I don't think so. But again, I've been consistent in this, and I could easily be wrong on this. I'll say this: I don't want him to play next week. We're 3-9. Like, the season's over.
Grab a couple feel-good wins.
Thank you, draft.
We don't need any. I'd rather the better draft pick. I'd rather the better draft pick to get us help on both sides of the line and get us some secondary help. Look, they have given themselves an out.
Yeah, which feels like the reporting there have been outs. Like he's not 100% yet. He's not going to come back
he's not
going to come back until he can do everything. Right. And so
whereas Burrow was like, no, he's coming back.
Right.
And also the Bengals AFC.
You're back. You're so back.
They're 2 games out. They play the Ravens.
I can't believe you tore up all those tickets.
No, they're still there somewhere. They're hidden, but they're still there. The thing is with Washington, I think that Mariota has shown enough that you can feel relatively confident when the matchup is favorable enough with Debo, with McLaurin, who's going to continue to ramp up. and with Ertz as a low-end startable tight end. The running backs you don't feel good about necessarily.
No, yeah, I mean, Chris Rodriguez got, if you had to start a Washington running back, it's Chris Rodriguez. They didn't use McNichols or not because they were basically in this game the entire way. Yep. And so, Rodriguez cashes in the touchdown. But, they're using McNichols and Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt and Bill enough that you don't feel great about Chris Rodriguez. And you look at their upcoming schedule, they're at Minnesota next week. Oh, man. Then they're at the Giants. Okay, decent. Home to Philadelphia, home to Dallas, an improving Dallas, and obviously Philadelphia. So, it's not a schedule that you feel great about. Yeah. You can run on Philly. We'll talk about that in a second. But you can run on the Giants. So I think, Rodriguez is basically a hope for a touchdown flex play at this point. But the passing game you feel good about across the board. You feel good about McLaurin, Debo, and Zach Ertz, regardless of who's under center for Washington. Other side of the ball, are the Denvers the worst 10-2 team in the history of the NFL?
Remember when the Steelers with Roethlisberger started off 11-0? And it was like, how was this team 11-0?
Yeah.
That team's up. They're probably better than this Broncos team, though. Yeah. Bo Nix just isn't that good.
Well, this was the inverse Bo Nix game. He was bad. He was good for 3 quarters and awful in the 4th when most games have been the other way around.
Yeah. Well, they're going to win next week because they play the Raiders.
Right. They are. And Sean Payton doesn't seem to be bothered by it, at least externally. R.J. Harvey, goal line back as we all expected. R.J. Harvey.
Yeah, I mean, he got 100% of the goal to go rushing attempts. He got 80% of the team's red zone attempts. So all those things are positive, but no heavy meat sauce. I do not think Harvey is locked in as an RB2 moving into the playoffs. He bailed you out with the touchdowns, which we're happy about, but he 13 for 35. 3 for 27.
Against the Commanders.
Yeah, against the Commanders. But, his rushing line was 56.5. He fell short of that. His rushing and receiving total, I think, was 75.5. He fell short of that. He should have been able to do better than 13 for 35 is not good.
Yeah. The thing is, too, I put some of it just on, we always blame the line in the run game. There was a couple of times last night, and he did this a lot in college, where downhill run, the hole is there, he cut it wide, and he's tackled at the line of scrimmage. He bounces runs that are 5 or 6 yard carries into no yard carries. And I know he has explosive playability, and there's a lot of good with him, but that was really frustrating as well.
In the 2 games since J.K. Dobbins went down, he's averaging 2.7 yards per carry. He's 24 for 55. That's not good. No. So again, he's bailing you out with the touchdowns, and I think that will continue because I think it's an offense that's fairly efficient, and it does seem like they like him in the red zone, and so they'll continue to use him. But I think, is he a locked-in RB2? No, I think he's a shaky flex that needs a touchdown.
Yeah. Do they like him in the red zone because he can't bounce outside for trying to hunt 50-yarders?
I guess. It's a weird one. It was nice to see Courtland Sutton get off the schneid here as well. His best fantasy game since week 5. But just a 14% target share. The touchdown pass to him was actually a brilliant play by Bo Nix as well. Troy Franklin doesn't do much. The Commanders, it's weird for a game that, where the scores was in the 30s. I thought the Commanders actually played pretty good defense here. Yeah. Especially given all the givens that they're not very good on defense.
You can see the difference with Dan Quinn
taking
the reins again. You really can. Because they don't have a lot of talent.
Yeah.
But they were schematically a lot better. By the way, we can't forget the most important thing in this game.
Yeah.
The Treylon Burks.
Yeah. First off, Treylon Burks, for people who didn't, that's where Treylon Burks is. I think most people thought he'd retired.
He's not in the league anymore.
No, exactly.
Alive and well.
No. Goodbye, Robbie Chosen. Hello, Treylon Burks.
Right.
You drink for free with a catch of the year. I know it was in a losing effort, but honestly, Connor, real quickly, Treylon Burks out of Arkansas, right?
Yeah.
This is a kid that was drafted by Tennessee, if I'm remembering correctly, was drafted by Tennessee. They trade away A.J. Brown because they wanted Treylon Burks, and so it was just obviously a tough couple of years in Tennessee. He's dealt with injuries a lot.
That's the story. He's just been hurt constantly.
Yeah.
Big-bodied wide receiver, vertical threat. You could see how he could play above the rim, the spectacular plays. There's just no consistency with him. Yeah. So it's good to see him have that moment. Because Tennessee it was just defined by constantly being hurt every time they felt like they got some momentum with him.
And I always felt had no fault of his own, but it's just they traded away A.J. Brown for a first-round pick to draft him, and so he's always going to be compared to A.J. Brown. Why didn't we just keep A.J. Brown, who's so much better than Treylon Burks? And again, Burks wasn't. So I always felt bad from that anyway. So it was just nice to see him get a moment in the sun, and by the way, a completely legitimate moment in the sun because it was an unbelievable catch, just absolutely amazing, and one of the many bright spots for Washington. I agree with you. It was as good an outcome as we could have hoped for because we're not going anywhere, so at least we lost with pride. And I'll just say this as a Commanders fan, I'm glad we went for 2. It didn't work out,
that's the right move.
It was the right move. It didn't work out. We had the right play called. Mariota needs to throw it higher. Guy was wide open.
Nick
Nichols
bats the ball, and that's that. Mariota,
what are you going to do? Mariota
doesn't get it done.
Doesn't get it done.
That's the last time we're talking about this game. All right, the Bucs hold on against Arizona. Much needed win for the Bucs. They were on a 3-game losing streak. Bucky Irving, welcome back. Dominates the backfield touches. So good for Bucky, but the Emeka Egbuka, downswing here continues, guys. And Chris Godwin back in some capacity.
Emeka Egbuka, he's had one good game in 6 weeks. It just doesn't feel like he gets open.
But he's had some loud drops, too.
Yes.
Where you're like, but like it's not fluky.
Yeah.
He is dropping plays that can make a difference.
He's getting a lot of targets. He gets the targets. He just hasn't been able to translate.
Since week 7, he's had a 29% target share, and yet, to your point about the drops, a 42% catch rate. That is not good.
Yeah.
Since week 7, he's wide receiver 36. He's a wide receiver 4 over the last couple of weeks here for Emeka Egbuka. He's had single-digit fantasy points in 5 of the past 6 games. Like, he's no longer a must-start moving forward. I think he's on that wide receiver 3-4 border. It hasn't helped that Baker's been banged up, and they've had some tough matchups here. Arizona is not a cake. Their secondary is pretty good.
They play close games.
Yeah.
More often than not. I know the Seattle one kind of got out of control, but they'll play up with anyone, and they unfortunately play down to anybody.
I mean, they probably should have won this game. The Bucs didn't play particularly well. The underlying stuff, I think, was a bit more favorable to Arizona. But I think the big news for Tampa Bay is just Bucky Irving's workload, the fact that he looked like Bucky Irving, back to clearly being his backfield as an RB1 type.
Tampa Bay had 26 running back touches in this game. Bucky Irving got 19 of them. Sean Tucker, just an afterthought. Rachaad White plays 37% of the snaps. And for Bucky Irving's first game back, he got the majority of the work here. It's clearly back to how it was at the beginning of the season, which is it's all Bucky Irving. He's the only Buccaneers running back you want to start as long as he is healthy. On the Arizona side of the ball, once again, Jakobi Brissett, top 12 quarterback. That's his full name as we head to Monday Night Football. He's the 9th best quarterback in fantasy this week, which means he will finish yet again another week as a top 12 fantasy quarterback, regardless of what Drake May and Jackson Dart do tonight. At least 18 fantasy points in all 7 of his starts this season. Since taking over as the starter, Jay, he's averaging 312 passing yards a game. That is most in the NFL.
Yeah, he is who everyone wants Joe Flacco to be. Jakobi Brissett. It is a skill to be able to compile this much yards. Now, I understand there's mistakes in there, and that's the reason why he's not an elite quarterback, but the man has shown that he can pile up yards, and it's a favorable matchup against the Bucs defense, but still, I mean, it's kind of a fantasy, it has been a fantasy dream because the Cardinals defense had been so banged up, they were playing in these shootouts. Now that the Cardinals actually have their players back in the secondary, that probably goes away a little bit and he becomes a bit more matchup dependent, but I mean, they have confidence in him dropping back a ton. He didn't have 47 completions this time around, but he had 29, and they've got weapons. They have guys who get open and he gets them the ball. He is like he's like Jeff Suppan. He's an innings eater with yards.
Jeff Suppan.
Wow. Yeah, Jeff
Shout out
Suppan.
to Jeff Suppan. I know Jeff watches the show.
Yeah, exactly.
That was
that
was 100 to 1.
Yeah, exactly.
Is the cash.
Right? Like a young Steve Traxel. Another innings eater.
We've actually mentioned him on the show this year already.
Yes.
Steve Traxel. So
kind
shout
of
out
insane.
For him.
That's
I
always
believe they may have started against each other in the 2006 NLCS.
Because Jeff Suppan's a great call, but I always for whatever reason, Steve Traxel is always like my go-to innings eater.
Yeah.
That's the guy that I always think of like.
Mets, on and on.
Yeah, just always
around. Makes his starts.
Yeah, just exactly.
Back then, there was no pitch counts constantly,
No,
so you let him out there to die, and
Exactly.
you go on with the game, you lose 7-5.
There you go. Exactly.
All right, we got some action here in the chat. This one from Trish Skidney, not Kidney. Wilson or Godwin, rest of the year. Obviously,
it's either Trish Skidney or Trish's kidney.
I like Trish's kidney better.
Yeah. By the way, Connor, you missed yesterday, but Matthew tried to give Marvin Harrison a kidney injury when it was an appendix injury. You're implying like Marvin Harrison lost his kidneys.
Still in the same area.
Appendicitis.
Yeah, after retiring Matthew Stafford and Travis Kelce, he's now retiring Marvin Harrison's kidneys.
He moves on to somebody.
It's unbelievable.
Look, everyone knows I don't do research. All right.
Wilson or Godwin for the rest of the year?
With Marv back, it was a big third turn for Michael
It was. Now, Marvin Harrison
36.
leaves this game again. Like,
Right.
you know,
It's
so
always
prior to Marvin Harrison leaving, Michael Wilson had a 12.5% target share, his lowest since week 7. Assuming Marvin Harrison is back next week, I'm going to say Chris Godwin. Like, I just feel like eventually he'll get healthier.
They
and
need
like,
him right now.
They need
Bucs.
him, yeah.
They really need him.
And I think especially given the fact that it feels like Egbuka has sort of maybe hit a rookie wall, that that you feel better about Godwin down the stretch than Wilson overtaking both McBride and Harrison.
Yep.
But it's close, and that sort of, Trish, that sort of gives you an idea of what we're talking about here. But I don't know, there's a chance that Harrison misses more time. Again, he left this game with an injury. We'll get more updates as the week goes on as well.
2 minutes ago, Todd Bowles said it's a possibility that Mike Evans could return to practice this week.
Wow.
Yeah.
Excellent. Mike Evans, another guy that I've dropped in the
Nice.
in the League of A-holes.
Is Egbuka almost a drop if Evans comes back healthy?
No,
I guess you give him 1 week. But
Yeah, I think you want to see what sort of plays out there, because there's a scenario where, you know, Egbuka's been getting more defensive attention, now gets less, and maybe that, you know, because he was productive at the beginning of the year when Evans was out there.
Yeah, there's a chance that he could be the wide receiver 3 in an offense that suddenly isn't very explosive.
Very true. I think it's a wait and see, but I'm not proactively dropping Egbuka. I want to see sort of how it all plays out. Also, you know, Baker's playing out there on one shoulder. Like, hopefully he gets a little bit healthier as the week goes on. Seems like he got
Both
out
his
of that game.
kidneys still intact, but one shoulder.
Yes, one shoulder, both kidneys there as well. Last thing I just want to mention from this game very quickly was Bam Knight. You know, since week 6, he's averaging basically 13 touches a game. It's his 3rd straight game with a touchdown. Since week 11, randomly, Bam Knight is the 13th best running back in fantasy football. And so, like, he's been former Jet great Bam Knight here,
right.
Connor
Legend.
Rogers. He's
Lions and Jets, I believe.
Brother of Adebayo.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. Bam Knight certainly doesn't feel like RB13 in that time. I would have guessed RB24.
Yeah, but
he's
just
out there.
my point is like, did McCardo's banged up? Who knows if Benson ever comes back?
That's the weird one.
That's the weird one, right?
I mean, we thought he'd be back 3 weeks ago.
This Cardinals team is so strange.
Yeah.
But
They are dangerously fantasy relevant.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You have to sift through the muck and utilize this.
It is.
Whoever their top wide receiver is really good.
Yeah.
Ray McBride's a monster. Jakobi Brissett's getting it done. And apparently Bam Knight is the top 15 running
I'm just saying, like, if it doesn't feel like Benson's coming back anytime soon. McCardo's banged up. Michael Carter, whatever. Like, it Lord help us all, but Bam Knight is like a viable running back 2 in fantasy until further notice. So just want to say that their schedule is, I will say before you go crazy, Rams, Texans, Falcons are their next 3. All very good run defenses. And then they get Cincinnati in week 17. So just, anyway, something to think about.
All right, I will.
That's all I'm saying. Yes, just consider
like
it.
Yeah.
Mull it over.
I'll let you know tomorrow. How I
Yeah,
feel.
we'll talk about Bam Knight tomorrow, I am sure. I've just been stalling, trying to not talk about this next game here.
Well, we have to. Look at the fantasy board. How many times did we show a fantasy board and nobody made it to 12 points?
Right. Vikings at Seahawks, for people listening at home, Vikings at Seahawks was just a wasteland of fantasy ineptitude. Absolutely brutal. When TJ Hawkinson is your highest fantasy scorer at 11.9 fantasy points, Zach Charbonnet, of course, once again falls in the end zone because Ken Walker cannot buy a touchdown. Sharbs gets there as well.
I think the funny thing of this game was that Fox had this graphics package lined up about JSN's amazing season, and you tell Joe Davis was itching to get to it. They didn't get to it till the second half. He didn't have a catch until then. There's just nothing.
Absolutely brutal.
Connor, I've thought all season, like, the Seahawks don't have any other pass game weapons. Why don't opponents double JSN in every play?
Right.
And it felt like the Vikings were doing that. And sure enough, he does nothing. Now, it doesn't really help because
Didn't
it's
matter,
26-0. But do you think there's something teams are going to do going forward?
Yeah, but I don't think it'll just eliminate him.
No.
The script of this game was a joke.
Yeah.
Like, it was a complete joke.
It was. I will say this. Again, I'm going to butcher some of this, but I was talking with Devin McCourty last night about this exact thing. I'm like, I don't understand why haven't teams doing that? He goes, the problem is because there's some teams in terms of their scheme, in terms of what they run, that in order to, if they're primarily a zone team or whatever, then all of a sudden say, hey, we need to bracket this guy. Yeah. It just makes everything break down.
Right,
and he's just like, it's not as easzy as just saying, okay, this week we're going to double Jackson Smith and Jigba. He's just like, I think they've had a good run of, and I don't want to, Devin will be able to express how he feels. I don't want to, but just the
Flores
idea
is
basically
built to do that, though.
Right, correct. That's what I'm saying. He was just saying that some of the defenses they faced are not built to shut JSN down. And by the way, JSN obviously has had a great year and has done a lot. But he just said yes, Flores' defense was built to sort of do that.
Yep.
They also obviously faced Sam Darnold in practice all last year, so they knew exactly sort of what to do with him as well. And so obviously, look, the reason the Vikings lost that game had nothing to do with the Vikings defense. They played very, very well.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
Tough scene for Max Brosmer.
I'm laughing at Money 44 goes, Brosmer can't be worse than JJ. Yes, he can.
I'm not convinced, by the way. Like that. Hang on. That your first start is on the road at Seattle. They don't
brutal spot to be inserted.
Brutal spot.
Mike McDonald is gonna.
Do you think
he stood no chance?
Yeah, I mean, but in all seriousness, if J.J. McCarthy were in that same spot, do you think the outcome would have been any different?
Maybe there's not the falling Ernest pick six.
That was a bad play.
Please refer to it by its proper name. It's the Levis.
It really was. It really was. But that's other than that, yeah. I mean.
I'm not convinced that J.J. McCarthy is significantly better than Max Brosmer. Bad day at the office for Max Brosmer. That's an impossible situation to start. I'm not convinced that Brosmer is better than J.J. McCarthy either. The whole thing's just...
Well, their quarterback situation from Wentz to J.J. to him, it's just a disaster.
The whole thing.
It has sunk this team. And fantasy-wise, it has sunk Justin Jefferson. Sunk him.
That's the point.
Career low 4 receiving yards.
Fourth straight game with under 12 fantasy points. Since week 10, he's wide receiver 58. This is a guy that produced with Josh Dobbs, with Nick Mullins, that has produced with everyone, and for some reason they can't figure out how to get 18 the ball. It's unbelievable to me. Moving forward, I mean, Justin Jefferson is like a shaky wide receiver 3. I talked about this last week. I was asked on a radio show. I was on the Fantasy Life Sirius XM show last week. I did a segment, and they asked me point blank, rest of the season, who I'd rather have, Justin Jefferson or Wan'Dale Robinson.
Well, now it's
but I said that last week.
Right.
Go back. I mean, you and I both said that. We said Wan'Dale Robinson.
I said Jefferson. I'm changing my mind.
Yeah, as well you should
This is a bandwagon you should
because
jump
I don't know what Wan'Dale Robinson does tonight, but I bet you he gets more than 4 receiving yards.
Yes.
Famous last words.
I'll take that bet.
Right, exactly.
Over 3.5.
Over 3.5.
That's my best bet tonight. He'll get cut to me later.
Right. Justin Jefferson or Jameson Williams rest of the season. Aloha Bricks weighing in.
Oh boy, that's not fun.
Can you tell me how long Amon-Ra St. Brown is out before I answer this?
I think he's going to play. I think
he's that time.
Amon-Ra is back. It's Thursday.
The thing is with Amon-Ra, he's max, I think, he's going to miss 1 game because then they have the extended layoff.
Yep.
They got like 1 game in 16 days or whatever. So, I still probably Justin Jefferson. They play the Commanders next, and then they have Dallas, the Giants, and then Detroit's secondary who can't stop anyone either. So, I mean, it's unbelievable that we're in this situation where the Vikings, is Ryan Tannehill, is he worse than what they're getting at the quarterback position? Why can't they find replacement level quarterback play?
I say Jameson Williams. I'll tell you why. Because what we saw on Thursday, Jameson Williams has the ability to have a blow-up game.
Yeah.
And I don't think that barring basically that he lucks into 2 touchdowns, that McCarthy or somebody throws him a touchdown or 2, Jefferson is basically has to become touchdown dependent. He's not going to. This offense is so fractured, and the quarterback position is so under siege that you just don't feel good about that Jefferson has the ability to have a blow-up game like what we saw with Jameson Williams, right? I mean, I just
feel like it has to be.
Yeah, I think it's JMO. I mean, he's wide receiver for 79. Justin Jefferson is.
That's totally insane.
Yeah.
But
bonkers.
That's where we are right now. It's not just a one-off.
Yeah. And the last thing I want to say from 2 last things. Aaron Jones left this game with a shoulder injury. We'll track that throughout the week as well. It might be a Jordan Mason game against Washington this Sunday. The last thing I want to say here about this game, 2 things I think are important. Number 1 is Sam Darnold, who's now had under 5 fantasy points in 3 of the past 4 games. Part of the problem is that they play good defense and they run well. So and he's not a guy that runs. So he needs volume to get you there. Now it's been working.
He needs the bomb plays to JSN to hit. And if he's not getting 60-yard plays to JSN, then fantasy-wise, he's not super valuable, even though he's playing well.
That's right. There's not a floor. There's less of a floor with Darnold than there are with other sort of QB1s in that range. Yep. And the last thing I just want to say, if we can come to camera 1 here real quickly for me.
Oh,
camera 1. I want to address camera 1.
It's my least favorite
I saw a lot of people. I saw a lot of people on social media complaining about Jackson Smith and Jigba's horrible day, fantasy-wise as well. 4.3 fantasy points. He's wide receiver 64 as we head into Monday Night Football. And here's what I have to say to you guys. Screw you guys. Shut the hell up. You don't get to complain about Jackson Smith and Jigba. Are you kidding me? You've got an unbelievable year. He has massively outperformed ADP. Yes, he had a bad day at the office. You don't get to complain. Some of us are out here with Justin Jefferson. Are you kidding me? Do not say one damn word about Jackson Smith and Jigba. You know what you say? Hey, Jackson Smith and Jigba, thank you so much for the entire year. Bad day at the office happens to the best of us. Get him next week. That's what you say.
Wow.
Shut the hell up about your complaints about Jackson Smith and Jigba. I saw people bitching on social media, and I'm like, how dare you?
Very
how
loud.
dare you?
Very loud.
Yes.
Cameron one worthy.
Yes, thank you.
That.
I just wanted to say that.
It'll be fun.
It's very important.
He'll toast the Falcons in a dome, and we'll be right back on.
Yes, exactly right.
Don't
Please.
worry, we still have another game, guys. We cannot leave out Chargers-Raiders because we have to talk
Great
about
game.
the Chargers pass. Yeah, really.
Great game
Justin
of football.
Herbert, fracture in his hand. Lad McConkey does enough. Outside of that, Matthew, not much going for Keenan Allen, not much going for QJ, and Oronde Gadsden under 4 points.
Yeah, I mean, like, he got banged up in that game. Third straight game with under 7 fantasy points. But keep in mind that he's still getting the targets, Gadsden is. His quarterback gets hurt in this one. He got hurt, a couple of games ago as well. He's sort of limping through. I'm still sticking by Gadsden as a low-end tight end one. But QJ and Keenan Allen, like, let's see what happens with if it's going to be Trey Lance or Justin Herbert next week. He's getting surgery on the hand. It's not his throwing hand, but we don't know if Herbert's going to be able to play. Feels like this is the last week of Kamani Vidal. If it is, if Amari and Hampton does come back next week, salute Kamani Vidal. Ends on a strong note here.
It's like the penthouse Bam night.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, that's right.
He is. That's right. He is kind of a penthouse Bam night as well. I don't know that you feel great about anyone in this Chargers passing attack because there's sort of 4 of them and it's been inconsistent. Second bad game in a row for them. But I think you're still starting McConkey. I think you're probably still starting Gadsden, and then sort of depends on what your options are for QJ and Quentin and Keenan Allen, which I rank in that order.
Feels very fragile for the Chargers right now. Just this offensive line, they're just teetering a little
And
bit.
Herbert gets hurt every year, and to no fault of his own more often than not. He just gets hit so much.
Right. We'll talk about him tomorrow, though. I will say that if Trey Lance becomes the start of this week, he becomes interesting again because of the rushing, obviously.
Sure. How about the Week 13 injuries we're watching? We just mentioned Justin Herbert with that fracture in his non-throwing hand. Aaron Jones left the game with a shoulder. Dylan Sampson with the calf. Amon-Ra St. Brown with that ankle. He could miss 1 to 2 weeks. We'll see how that progresses or does not. Marvin Harrison Jr. with a heel injury and Parker Washington with a hip injury. We're going to take our first break. When we're back, we got Weekend Warriors and Sunday Scaries after this. But the poll says who is the better excuseler? Matthew winning 75%
Wow,
of the vote
228
share.
votes.
It's fine. You know what? If it's a poll between me and Jay, and the question is who's the better blank, the answer is always me. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the last word is.
Just win on Sunday, Indianapolis. Just win the football game.
You think that the answers are there to find right now for you guys?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, anything can get better. Just having a positive attitude towards it, and really focus on it and continue chipping away, So, like I said last game, like we got the right people in this locker room to get it fixed, and I believe that. Remaining positive and coming to work now with a chip on your shoulder to get it better, to get it fixed, Or having those conversations that need to be had, and just keep going, keep chopping wood and carrying water, man.
Weekend Warriors, that was A.J. Brown at the top. Keep chopping wood and carrying water.
He was smiling, though. He was a happy A.J. Brown.
Well, you know why? 12 targets.
Yeah, of course, exactly. I was like, he was very upset after the wins when he didn't get any work.
See, all the Eagles need to do is run their offense through A.J. Brown, and they get a great result as a team.
Vibes are back.
Yeah, the
Vibes are back.
For one player.
It's all of it's so weird, but the greasy wheel stuff has worked in the case of A.J. Brown. Back-to-back games now with 25 fantasy points. His 3 best games this season have all come since week 7 here, and third straight game with double-digit targets in this one. I mean,
I don't know.
The whole thing's a disaster.
He could be 2 catches for 7 yards on Monday night.
I was going to say, there's no reason to believe this is sustainable the rest of the year.
No, but I don't know what you do with him other than I think you have to keep rolling him out there. Roll him out there. If it does help, their upcoming schedule, the Eagles' upcoming schedule is pretty easy.
Yes.
At the Chargers, home to Vegas, at Washington, at Buffalo. So there you have it.
Patrick Mahomes and Rashee Rice make our list. Mahomes have 4 touchdowns. Rashee Rice caught 2 of them on a 92-yard day. Jay, this duo, I think, a little bit more reliable than whatever A.J. Brown is week in and week out.
Yeah, brutal matchup coming up on Sunday Night Football against the Texans, where the Chiefs are trending towards only being 3-point favorites.
Not surprised. Texans are playing amazing.
Yeah, the Texans are playing very well.
And Texans always play them tough specifically.
Yes, gave them a tough game in the playoffs last year. But, yeah, I mean, Mahomes, he's statistically, this is the most Patrick Mahomesy he's looked since 2023. Rashee Rice had the hamstring issue that he's dealing with, but he seems fine. The Chiefs' the issue right now is their pass defense. The offense has been giving them what they need.
Since week 2, he's the second best wide receiver. Sorry, since he returned, he's the second best wide receiver in fantasy football. Rashee Rice is. He's been just awesome. 23 or more fantasy points in 4 of 6 games. Him and Kelsey, kind of the important part. The last thing on that game, by the way, real quickly, is that Pacheco came back, but it was still the Kareem Hunt show in the backfield.
Yep. Connor, Jordan Love, my man, my patron saint, alongside Alec Pierce, goes 18 for 30, 234 yards, and a touchdown on 4 touchdowns on Thanksgiving. The Packers are 6-1 to get the 1 seed. My man Jordan Love is 10-1 to win MVP. I will be absolutely insufferable to everyone if Jordan Love wins MVP.
How will we tell?
Yeah.
Versus how you are on a normal everyday basis.
But game on the line.
Squint.
Game on the line. He makes a phenomenal throw, just chucks it up to Dontayvion Wicks, and Wicks comes down with it. The sure hands of Dontayvion Wicks.
Right, 2 touchdowns, 94 yards. You play Packers roulette, sometimes wide receiver roulette. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Christian Watson.
I feel like we get a Dontayvion Wicks game like this once every 4 weeks, and when they would buy in and then he disappears
Packers
for a month.
roulette.
Yeah, I'm not buying into it. A nice game for Wicks, a nice player. He's had at least a 19% target share in 3 of the last 4 games, but it's his first game this year with more than 8.5 fantasy points. So just not buying it. I will say what I am buying as you sit here and look at some of the fantasy leaders. We'll talk about A.D. Mitchell and Devon Bailey more tomorrow. Some of the other guys, obviously Rice, Lamb, some of the other. But I think what is sustainable is the Chicago Bears running attack here. DeAndre Swift and Kyle Monangai, both just fantastic. Back-to-back games with Monangai seeing over 50% of the Bears running back rushes. They took it to the Eagles. They just out-physicaled the Eagles, and feels like this is a script that they can follow. That offensive line is no joke.
They want to be what the Lions were with Sonic and Knuckles, and now with Swift and Monangai.
Yep. Only issue is their next 3 games, 2 against the Packers, 1 against the Browns. They have the best rush defense in football, so it's going to get a little bit trickier to start Monangai in particular, just because of the opposing rush defenses.
Fair enough. Jameson Williams, who we just talked about earlier, now has at least 16 fantasy points in 5 of his last 7. Got a 37% target share. Obviously, Amon-Ra St. Brown has that low ankle sprain. He's week to week. We'll see if he comes back this week. But I stand by my I'd rather Jameson Williams than Justin Jefferson the rest of the season.
Lions underdogs to make the playoffs now. Season
crazy.
on the line Thursday night against Dallas.
Jakobi Meyers, the last player on our list. Suspiciously, Jacksonville Jaguar Jakobi Meyers on this list over Adonai Mitchell. You could tell I missed the call this morning. Sorry about that, America. That's on me. 6 catches, though, for 90 yards and a touchdown. Settling in nicely here.
I think the part of the reason is because we're going to be able to talk about Mitchell tomorrow during the waiver wire show, obviously. But Jakobi Meyers, in the past 3 weeks, he's averaging over 15 fantasy points per game, 24% target share. Finally feels like he's a big part of this Liam Cohen offense and that there's a connection there between him and the Trevor Lawrence, especially with Parker Washington getting banged up in this game, Brian Thomas Jr., his nightmare season continuing. Jacksonville, Jakobi Meyers feels like the number 1 wide receiver on a, on a reasonable offense.
Yeah,
it's not a great offense, but it's... Yeah.
He's in trouble, though, because he's about to face the middle-of-the-road defense of my Indianapolis Colts without Sauce Gardner, so the good times coming to an end, Jakobi. Yeah.
Sunday Scaries. Ooh, man, you know who tops this list? It's been a bad stretch for Lamar Jackson and the Ravens offense, and Zay Flowers suffers with it. He only catches 2 of 7 targets for 6 yards. Lamar with a pick, 2 fumbles. His rushing production is not the same, Matthew. It's ugly for Baltimore right now.
It is, but... Shout out to my guy Ian Hartitz at Fantasy Life, who put out a tweet about this just a little while ago. Isaiah likely fumbles into the end zone, right? Zay Flowers has like a 34-yard touchdown that, like, on a questionable ticky-tack offensive PI called back. There was a couple of different, long bombs to Tez Walker that they just missed. And I'm just saying that he's not running, so he's not Lamar, and I don't think he's going to run. Like, since he's come back from the hamstring, he just hasn't looked right. But I will say that I do think that there were a couple of bang-bang plays that easily could have gone the other way, where Lamar's day looks a lot different than it did. I mean, again, the likely thing's not his fault, and the Zay Flowers call, that was a questionable one as well.
Back to the Bears here. We talked about how great their run game is, Jay, but the pass game between Caleb Williams and Rome Odunze, not much going there. Rome, after being so good the beginning of the season, is starting to sink people a little bit now.
I don't think you can trust anyone in this Bears passing game. Caleb goes 17 for 36. They want to run the ball. Travis Etienne does nothing.
They're trying to do what the Panthers are. They want to hide Caleb. They want to just run the ball and play good defense. And it's
keep winning.
Why wouldn't they? It is working as well. Travis Etienne was on the love list, and sorry, America, that was just a bad call. I don't know. They just weren't able to get anything going in the run game there as well. Third straight game with at least a 30% target share for Jalen Waddle. That's the positives. The negatives are back-to-back fantasy games, under 8 fantasy points for Waddle. Better days are ahead, hopefully.
Monday Night Football bets after this. DraftKings Sportsbook is an official sports betting partner of the NFL, and new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Download the app and use promo code FFHH when you sign up. DraftKings Sportsbook.
Oh, the crown is yours. The crown is yours.
Last call. Here's the most bet Monday Night Football player props. Drake May passing touchdowns 2+ is the leaderboard.
Yeah.
Jay, what are you looking at?
You know, it's like
All Pats there, by the way.
There you
The
go.
Giants bets.
By the way, welcome
Strange.
to sports betting in the state of Missouri. It's now legal in the state of Missouri, so welcome aboard.
Go Missouri.
Go Missouri.
Yes.
Use promo code Barry when you
It's
sign
actually
up.
my favorite state.
Yeah,
Okay, people don't know that.
Yeah, of
Wow,
course.
That's it.
Actually,
One of the
don't.
hottest takes you've ever had.
It's one of my top 50 states in America.
Same.
Travion Henderson, longest rush over 14.5 yards. The Giants have the worst rushing defense by a significant margin in the NFL by EPA per play, per rush, by rushing success rate. I think Travion will break one for at least 15 yards. You saw what Jameer Gibbs did to the Giants last week.
What about you, Matthew?
I like Pop Douglas over 15.5 receiving yards. I'm surprised this line is so low. He's had at least 34 receiving yards in 5 straight. He's had at least 17 or more receiving yards in 8 straight. Giants allow the 4th most yards per game to wide receivers in the slot, which is obviously where Pop Douglas lines up the most. I think Drake May has a nice game today. Give me Demario Douglas over 15.5 receiving yards. Connor?
I don't blame you guys for going Patriots props, but I'm going to take the Giants to hang around in this game. The spread is now 7.5 points. I like that there's a hook on this. Jackson Dart is back. Their defensive coordinator's been fired. Maybe a little spark there. 7.5 is a big number. The Giants have hung around against a lot of good teams this year. Hopefully they can do it tonight.
Yeah. All right, that music means you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. For Jay, Connor, Bijan Robinson, I'm Matthew. Good luck tonight with your Monday Night Miracles. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Peace out.